So, good afternoon. Hope that audio is clear. Uh, any noise, please let me know at the beginning itself so that I can set if it is a problem from my side. So, we are getting audio clearly, right? Yeah, good afternoon. So, we'll begin with today's session now. Okay, so this is for those who are attending this YouTube session for the first time. My name is MD Rizwan. I'm faculty for the civil services, and in these YouTube sessions we have covered uh, these many. If you are remembering, the topics that we have done in the month of March are these, that is, we have done UNFCCC, Sustainable Development, Protected Area Networks, Plate Tectonic Theory, Coral Reefs. Last week we have covered volcanism, and this is the last session in this month of March. Okay, so in next month we will be increasing the YouTube sessions. So we'll have a crash course now designed for prelims that will cover almost all the topics of ecology and environment. Okay, so I think you will be able to get the notification of this course on 1st of April. So this is continuous classes. In this case, what we have done in March is we have selected uh, topics from different chapters, but in next month onwards we are going to do a complete course, crash course on YouTube, that is related to ecology and environment, which will be useful for your prelims exam, right? So this is one support system you are going to get from this class. Okay, so brief introduction. I'm teaching on live classes on Unacademy Plus. These are structured courses for the prelims as well as mains. And as far as my teaching experience in civil services is concerned, I have been teaching for the civil services aspirant last 14 years with my area of expertise in geography, ecology, environment, and disaster management, as well as current affairs. So, if you are going for the live classes, you should be subscribing with this referral code, that is Rizwan.md. M is capital here, right? So, and even today on the free app, I have launched a 50-day strategy for prelims. Okay, that is on Unacademy free live free app is there. I think you are following all these courses on free app. So I have launched this 50-day strategy for prelims, which is going to give you like idea how to prepare and what to be the focus area. We will do some MCQs there in these 2 months. Okay, so now see, understand these 2 months are very very crucial for us, that is April and May. You are left with only 60 days time for your prelims exam. So utilize this duration judiciously, systematically, strategically, scientifically. Okay, and see, don't worry about what you have done in the past. Past जो था वो हो गया है. And now if you are able to use this period properly, that is the month of April and May, you will be definitely getting benefited in your prelims examination. Yeah, फिर there will be candidates who might have studied very hard in the past 8 9 months. If they lose the track in preparation in these 2 months, then in such cases the result is obviously not guaranteed. So these 2 months are very crucial, and remember that in prelims exam you have to get above cutoff. So generally cutoff nowadays is ranging from 100 to 110. So it will be always better to score 110 plus in prelims exam to comfortably start your mains preparation. So any score which is like 95, 96, 101, 102 will put you in dilemma after the prelims exam ki bhai, what we should do, shall we prepare for the mains or shall we wait for the result. And in such cases generally when the result is even positive after 40 days of the prelims, after the prelims result you are hardly left with 40 to 45 days for the mains. It will be very difficult for anyone to prepare completely for the mains exam in this short duration. So if you want to properly utilize that 3.5 month time for the mains, then your result, your score of the prelims should be comfortable matlab it should be more than 110. Okay, 110. So अगर इससे कम होगा then you are going to waste really a lot of time in only thinking about the result. Okay, so out of my experience about such students I'm saying this. ठीक है. Now let us look into today's session. What is the topic? So we are going to discuss the tropical cyclones today. So we'll discuss first what is a cyclone, then what are the types of cyclone, what do you mean by tropical cyclone, formation of this tropical cyclone, their structure, and associated weather. Right. So here we will be having this topic is obviously essential for your prelims exam. Now, to begin with, what do you mean by a cyclone or a cyclonic condition? So, cyclone from the atmospheric perspective, we can define it as an atmospheric phenomenon. Atmospheric phenomenon, right? So, which consists of low pressure, and rotation of winds around the low pressure, and it is a closed system. Okay, closed system. So there are three things here. There is low pressure, rotation of the winds, and it is a closed system. So you say this, ये अगर low pressure है and the winds around this low pressure they get rotated like this will be known as the cyclone. Right. Now this condition may occur anywhere on the surface of the earth. So based on latitude, the cyclones are divided or classified into two types. One is known as tropical cyclone and other is known as temperate or extratropical cyclone. Okay, so two types of cyclones will be there. That is tropical cyclone and the second is temperate cyclone. So if you say tropical means tropical cyclone will occur up to 30-degree latitude. So if this is earth, on the surface of the earth, if the cyclone is occurring between somewhere between 30-degree north to 30-degree south, this will be known as tropical. If the cyclone occurs in the higher latitude, the same low pressure occurring in higher latitude, this will be known as a temperate cyclone, right? But here don't understand that temperate means high pressure. No, it is cyclone means it is low pressure only. It can be in the temperate region or it can be in the tropical region. Right. So whenever cyclone occurs, there is a low pressure, right? And whenever there is a low pressure, the winds will be always moving towards a low pressure. How is the orientation of the wind? The wind is generally oriented from high pressure to low pressure. So whenever low pressure is there, the wind will converge towards this low pressure, but because of the Coriolis force it will get rotated around this low pressure, right? So there is a convergence, but rotation is because of the Coriolis force. Coriolis force, you might be knowing, Coriolis force is the force of deflection that is caused due to the rotation of the earth. Okay. So and for the cyclone to have this rotation, you need a Coriolis force, and the direction of rotation is determined by a law that is known as a Ferrel's law. Okay, there is a Ferrel's law for this. What it says, that deflection of the wind will be to the right hand side in the northern hemisphere and to the left hand side in the southern hemisphere. So based on this, we will get that the cyclone, if it occurs in the northern hemisphere, will have anti-clockwise anti-clockwise rotation of the wind, and if the cyclone is occurring below the equator, means southern hemisphere, it will be having a clockwise rotation of the wind. Okay. Okay. So here the winds getting deflected, and because of this deflection the wind is getting rotated, and therefore remember these things, that is cyclone when occurs in northern hemisphere will be anti-clockwise rotation will be anti-clockwise. So if this is a cyclone, here it is going to, the wind is going to rotate like this. If it is in northern hemisphere, this is anti-clockwise. If the cyclone is in southern hemisphere, the winds are rotated in this way, right? So this is in southern hemisphere. Yes, is it clear this part? So what is a cyclone, and how this cyclone differs from northern and southern hemisphere? Yes, are you following all this? No, mechanism you can know, but it is simply because of this effect of Coriolis. जो अगर Ferrel's law, if you are able to apply, in such cases you will get this right and left. There is no uh, much bigger concept involved in that. Okay. अब इसमें angular momentum and all these things are involved, but that is not the part of our domain, right? So just remember, it is the Ferrel's law that is going to cause the deflection, and because of this deflection, you will be having this anti-clockwise rotation in north and clockwise rotation in the southern hemisphere. A reason is obviously, the reason is the rotation of the earth. Coriolis force is a pseudo force. Now, if you go to the physics dimension of the Coriolis force, you will find that because Earth is rotating, any freely moving object on the surface of the earth is going to get deflected from its path, right? So that is the application from the physics segment. Here you just use this Coriolis force to get the concept of cyclone. Now, like if you understand how this Coriolis force is, that you will find that it is very less on the equator and goes on increasing towards the pole. Highest deflection of the wind will be there in the polar region, and Coriolis force is almost absent. Okay, almost absent in the equatorial region. Getting now? So cyclone essentially consist of three things: low pressure, rotation of the wind, and closed system. Suppose cyclone occurs in Bay of Bengal. This is India. Okay, cyclone occurs here. What will be the direction of rotation? हम्म अगर साइक्लोन बे ऑफ बंगाल में हो रहा है, then what, how it will rotate, clockwise or anti-clockwise? So it is above the equator, so obviously it will be what, anti-clockwise. Okay, it will be anti-clockwise. If it is in Arabian Sea, again it will be anti-clockwise only. So India is affected by the anti-clockwise rotation of these cyclones. Okay, but if you talk of Australia, Argentina, all the South Africa, these countries in southern hemisphere will have the cyclones hitting them in clockwise direction. Right. So it is anti-clockwise. Please correct it because northern hemisphere, it is anti-clockwise. So low pressure is required and you require a rotation of the wind. So if you see cyclone on equator, cyclone on the equator here. Can cyclone be formed on the equator? So cyclone needs a low pressure and rotation of the winds, right? So on equator there is a low pressure, but equator doesn't have the Coriolis force, remember. So there will not be any formation of the cyclone exactly on the equator. That is why you will never come across the information that the cyclone is coming and hitting directly from the south or from Sri Lanka or like that. You will come across information like cyclone hits to Andhra or cyclone is hitting from Arabian Sea or Bay of Bengal, but not directly from the southern tip or towards the southern tip, because this is very close to equatorial region. Okay, so you don't have the formation of the cyclone on the equator in spite of presence of low pressure, because there is absence of the Coriolis force. ठीक है. Now see, these cyclones, the tropical cyclones, are named in different regions differently. When I use a word cyclone, I am particularly mentioning about what, Indian Ocean. Okay, they are known as cyclones in Indian Ocean, these low pressure. They are also known as hurricanes in Atlantic, in America and all. They are known as hurricanes, right? In case of Pacific and South China Sea, they are known as typhoons, and in Australia, these cyclones are referred as willy willy. ठीक है. So they are the same phenomenon, but the names, they are referred differently in different regions. Cyclone, when we are using the word, it is particularly referring to the Indian Ocean, right? Now so if you go by the tropical cyclone, so understand, the tropical cyclone is formed by a low pressure that is related to heating of the surface, right? When the surface is getting heated, there is establishment of the low pressure, right? And then it is energy. What is the source of energy of the cyclone? The energy it gets from the moisture. The tropical cyclone is getting the energy from moisture, that is nothing but evaporation from the surface. So this is the surface, this is insolation, the surface gets heated and there is evaporation like this. It means that the energy that is getting into water is transferred to the water vapor, and this water vapor move up and release this energy. This is known as a latent latent heat. this latent heat is going to drive this phenomenon. ठीक है. So moisture is an essential, we can say, energy source for the cyclone, right? So if it is derived or it is formed by moisture, it means that the tropical cyclone will be only formed over what? Oceans. The tropical cyclones will not be formed over the land, remember. But when you see temperate, temperate will be formed over both land and water. But as the tropical cyclone is energized by the water vapor, the source of water vapor is ocean. Thus, the tropical cyclone is a oceanic phenomenon. It is not a phenomenon over the land. And so, if this cyclone, let us say this is land, and here is a cyclone. So, this cyclone moves like this and hits the land. So, entering the land, it is going to get destroyed. Okay, destroyed. The cyclone dies, you can say. After it hits the land, it is causing the death. The cyclone dies, it will not be able to travel deep interior into the land. Why it is not traveling deep interior, or why is a cyclone affecting only the coastal region? So because it is cut off from the moisture. So tropical cyclone will not be able to affect deep interiors of the continent. Remember, they are not going to affect deep interiors of the continent, because they are cut off. When they strike the land, they are cut off from the source of moisture, or they are cut off from the energy, right? So they don't have any energy now. That is why the cyclone dies at landfall. Okay, landfall. Remember the term here. What is the meaning of landfall? When, not landslide. Landslide is a geomorphological phenomenon. Okay, when the cyclone hits the coast, it is known as a landfall, right? So next, the cyclone will consist of low pressure, and outside there is a high pressure. So high and low, because of which there will be continuous movement of the wind from high to low. So if you see the structure of the cyclone, you'll find that there are isobars. इस तरह से the cyclone appears in this way. The center having a low pressure, and outside it is high pressure. So because of this, the isobars will be circular. Okay, isobars will be circular. Circular concentric isobars. This is the feature of the tropical cyclone. So if you are drawing a axis or a line like this, what you can do? You can divide the cyclone into two equal halves. Two equal halves. Right. Therefore, what is the symmetry, or what is the structure of the cyclone? It is symmetrical. Okay, it is symmetrical. As the cyclone can be divided into two equal halves, the structure of the cyclone is considered as symmetrical. Now isobars means the line joining equal pressure is known as isobar. जैसे isotherm होता है, line joining points of equal temperature. Okay, equal temperature is known as isotherm. ठीक है, जैसे you have temperature of 30 degree here, you have temperature of 30, here is also 30. तो क्या करेंगे? We can join the line like this, these points by a line. इसको बोलते हैं isotherm. But I take 1015 as millibar as a pressure, here also 1015. Like this you can join the points of equal pressure, that will be known as a isobar. So when you are showing these circles, it means that the pressure is changing from low pressure to high pressure here. See inside center में क्या होगा? Low pressure होगा, और उसके बाहर हम जाएंगे, you will find high. So let us say center has 900, this is what 1000, this is 1100, just for your understanding. So it means that on this line there is equal pressure outside. Okay, ये सारा कुछ क्या है, 1100, then it is 1000 in this way. Right. And as we know that the wind is moving from high to low like this, the wind will enter the cyclone in this way because of this pressure and will get deflected at the center. We'll see the structure. तो पहले ये देखिए that the cyclone is going to have a symmetrical structure. So this cyclone, when it is hitting any area, what it will do, it will change the weather systematically. It is going to change the weather systematically. That is why we are saying that the weather associated with the tropical cyclone is more predictable. Okay, more predict. अगर इसका structure random होता, if tropical cyclone was random like this, the structure is like this, the isobar is in this ways, or these are the isobars, so you cannot predict the weather because this is random structure, random modification of rainfall, winds, like that. But it, as the circular isobars are there, we'll say that weather associated with the tropical cyclone is systematic. ठीक है? Hope you are getting this. So now you tell me that in which season the cyclone will be more intense? Tropical cyclone will be more intense in summer or winter? कब साइक्लोन का इंटेंसिटी बढ़ जाएगा? See, energy of the cyclone is related to what? Moisture. अगर moisture ज़्यादा हो, energy also will be more. If moisture is more, energy will be more. Moisture depends on evaporation and evaporation depends on insolation and insolation is more in summer. ठीक है? That is why we are experiencing more cyclones in summer. Okay, summer, because it is related to rate of evaporation. ठीक है, good. So some are replying winters. Okay, how it can be winter when you say that energy is related to moisture? It is not possible. See, I am not saying that cyclone cannot be formed in winter. Formation of the cyclone can be there at any season depending on the temperature conditions of the ocean. लेकिन intensify कब होगा? Intensification, very high intensity cyclone will occur in summers. ठीक है? Now, so this is about energy and structure of the cyclone. And if you see, the diameter of these cyclones generally will be around 500 kilometers, 500, 600, 700. These are relatively small. Tropical cyclones will be small compared to temperate. अगर temperate cyclone का area देखेंगे, it will be something like 5000 kilometers will be the area of temperate cyclone. So comparing between these two, you'll find that the temperate cyclone is much larger phenomenon compared to the tropical cyclone. ठीक है? So now what are the conditions for formation of this tropical cyclone? First is it requires higher temperature, means surface temperature should be high. Heating is essential, so this temperature is around 27 degrees. Okay, primary requirement of the tropical cyclone is that it requires a surface temperature of 27. Then yes, second essential condition is Coriolis force. What the purpose of what? Deflection of the winds, right? And there should be a very small difference in vertical wind velocity. Okay, vertical wind velocity means drag. Okay, so time being you just understand vertical wind velocity, or you can ignore also, this is technical. thing, geostrophic winds and all. So we'll discuss some time else in the comparison of the cyclone. Pre-existing weak low pressure area or low level cyclonic circulation means what? There should be already existing low pressure, sometimes referred as depression. कभी आपने सुना होगा when they give weather forecast they will say that there is depression formed in Bay of Bengal, right? So ये depression क्या है? It is a condition which is required for this conversion or formation of the tropical cyclone, right? And there should be upper divergence means the air rising should diverge. ठीक है? So these are the basic condition. So I am saying here na the Coriolis force क्या करेगा? Coriolis force is going to deflect the wind. See, अगर आपको इसमें, this is earth and if this is a wind, according to the Ferrell's law, because of Coriolis force it is going to get deflected right. अगर ये continuously right में deflect हो रहा है, what will happen? It gets rotated, and if it is southern hemisphere it gets deflected to the left, and if it is continuously getting deflected it is again going to get rotated. ठीक है? इस तरह से. So Coriolis force is responsible for that rotation of the wind on the surface. So see this, the formation of the cyclone. So some points I have already explained. So let us look into the energy that strengthens the cyclone or a storm comes from what? Condensation process. Okay, condensation process. The cumulonimbus cloud. Okay, cumulonimbus cloud forms the center of the cyclone. Storm here means cyclone. On reaching the land, okay, on reaching the land, the moisture supply is cut off, and the cyclone or here storm means cyclone. The cyclone dissipates, and the place where the tropical cyclone cuts the coast or collapses on the coast, this will be known as a landfall of a cyclone. ठीक है? So this we have discussed. Now see how it is. See, this is a cross section of a cyclone. Cross section. Here is a low pressure, and this is surface. Okay, this is a surface, and here it is a upper part of the troposphere. Okay, like this. See what is happening? There is a low pressure at the center. The wind is moving. So this is a wind which enters into the low pressure and gets rotated along the low pressure and rises up. The wind which is rising is going to get diverged like this in upper part of the cyclone and moves outward like this. Here in upper part, this is known as upper divergence. Is it clear? So wind is entering towards the center and it is rising and then getting diverged in the upper part. So the area where the wind is rising, this will be known as a eye of a cyclone. In this way, all the winds that are coming towards the center may rise at different places, but maximum rising is at near the center of the cyclone, right? So and they will diverge here like this. All this wind is going to diverge. The wind rising is going to create a cloud like this. There is a formation of the cloud, and this is going to cause a rainfall, right? So इस तरह से देखिए. See, cyclone is this is a cyclone. So cyclonic condition. So what happens? The wind is entering here and getting rotated and rising in this way, and in upper part it is getting diverged. So in the center there is going to be a hollow structure created like this. So I'll show it by a diagram. Suppose this is a surface और यहाँ पर है लो प्रेशर, and outside is what, high pressure. So we are taking a cross section of a cyclone. ठीक है, wind will move from high pressure to low pressure like this, but before reaching the low pressure the wind is going to rise. Similarly, the wind reaching from high pressure to low pressure, but wind is rising. What will happen here? After reaching the upper part, the wind is going to diverge. This is upper divergence. Now, from this diagram, I think it will be more clear for you. इस तरह से, और क्या होगा, the wind which is diverging will descend after traveling certain distance in this way. ठीक है, and this will be the center of the cyclone like this. If I say this is x, what is this? This is the axis of the cyclone, which is going to divide the cyclone into two equal halves. Therefore, it is referred as what? Symmetrical in structure. Yeah, why the wind is rising? Because यहाँ पर क्या है, low pressure है. Low pressure will always cause, remember, whenever there is low pressure there is always rising of the air, and this, in this cyclone the low pressure is caused due to heating of the surface. तो surface heat हो रहा है, see here in this diagram, you see warm moist air moves over the ocean, it rises like this. Okay, this is entering and it is rising up. So as this air rises, it will come across what, lower temperature in the troposphere, and it will slowly result in formation of this cloud. Okay, so there is a formation of the cloud in the upper part when the wind is rising, right? Yes, are you getting this, Lokesh sir? So when the air is heated or it is warm on the surface, the warm air obviously is going to rise. A low pressure always results in ascendance of the air, and high pressure will result in descendance. So ये descending air होगा. So the air which is entering the low pressure is rising in this way. So the center part of the cyclone, what will be this? This is known as eye. और जहाँ पर eye air is rising, this is known as eye wall. ठीक है, and the air is diverging. Air is diverging. This will be known as what, spiral band. This is a spiral band, and outer part of the cyclone, which is descending air, this part is known as a descending or trailing edge of the cyclone. So cyclone consists of four parts. Center of the cyclone is eye, then it is eye wall, then spiral band. Spiral band means where the air is diverging in the upper part, that is known as a spiral band, and then descending air. ठीक है, are you getting some idea about the structure out of the diagram what I have drawn here? Yeah, in northern hemisphere the cyclone will be anti-clockwise. Yes, yes, समझ में आ रहा है? ठीक है, so the structure of the cyclone now consists of four parts, right? So if this is a cyclone, it has eye, then outside this there will be eye wall, eye wall, then around this will be the spiral band, and the last where there is air descending, this is known as a trailing edge. Same will be there on the other side again. So ये axis होगा cyclone का, there will be eye wall, this is spiral band and a trailing edge. ठीक है, So you have one eye wall and another, so everything is repeated, everything is repeated. Are you getting this? So therefore it is known as a every weather conditions in the tropical cyclone is repetitive. Okay, repetitive. And because of that we can predict what can be the changes brought by this tropical cyclone when it is moving over any region. ठीक है? Because suppose a person is, let us assume that this is a person who is standing here and और ये cyclone move हो रहा है. Okay, assume, and the cyclone is moving like this. So first thing he will encounter what? Trailing edge. पहला तो बाहर का part आएगा. Then he will encounter the spiral band. Then he will encounter the eye wall. और finally क्या है? Eye. ठीक है. जब eye में होगा ये बंदा, then he is going to experience what? Something very calm condition, because there is no movement of air in the eye. ठीक है. उसके बाद after eye again it will get repeated, दूसरा side आएगा. Okay, then it will be eye wall, then eye wall, spiral band and trailing edge. In this way the things get repeated. Okay, things get repeated. And therefore we say that the weather associated with the tropical cyclone is predictable. देखिए इस तरह से. Are you getting? तो यहाँ पर see what is this? This is the center of the cyclone, low pressure on, and the wind which are moving like this, they are raised. ठीक है, so this is the rising air और it creates a, तो this hollow structure जो बीच में बन रहा है, this is what? Eye of a cyclone. Air is not rising in eye, remember, right? So eye of a cyclone, okay, eye of a cyclone is the central part of the cyclone, और उसके बाहर the air is rising, the wind is rising, and it creates what? This is eye wall. यहाँ तक जो है, that is eye wall. So this region I'll say is eye wall, which is going to have a dense cloud. Okay, dense cloud. Then this one where air is diverging in upper part, तो क्या होगा? Cloud cover will go on decreasing here. This will be known as a spiral band. This is a spiral band. ये होगा spiral band. ठीक है. और ये outer part where the air may somewhere descend, this will be trailing edge. Now you tell me in which case there will be highest rainfall, eye or eye wall? कहाँ पर सबसे ज्यादा rainfall? Where is the highest rainfall recorded? It will be in, where is the dense cloud? From the diagram itself you can see where is the dense cloud. The dense cloud cover is in the eye wall. In this area you have the dense cloud, right? So maximum rainfall, okay, maximum rainfall will be in the region of eye wall. Okay, it will be in the region of eye wall. And eye will not have any rainfall. It is calm condition without any disturbances. There will not be any cloud formation, no rainfall, stable calm weather in the eye. ठीक है. So calm weather condition in eye, highest rainfall will be in eye wall. Eye wall consists of formation of cumulonimbus cloud. Cumulonimbus cloud, as you might be knowing, is associated with the vertical rising of air, and this is going to cause the highest rainfall. Okay, highest rainfall. And as you move towards the outer part of the cyclone, you will find that the rainfall and cloud cover will go on decreasing. So if you are getting a question that which part of the cyclone is going to cause the highest damage, that will be eye of a eye wall of a cyclone, not the eye is rather having a very calm conditions. ठीक है. So if you see the eye of a cyclone, this will be around the diameter of the eye may vary, but on an average it will be around 20 to 50 kilometers in diameter. Okay, diameter of the eye. The mature tropical cyclone is characterized by the strong spiraling circulation wind around the center, and this will be known as the eye of a cyclone. Eye is an area which has a calm weather, already have explained, and it has a descending air instead of ascending. What is this descending air? Descending air is cold air which is moving into the cyclone from upper what divergence. Remember this part. Eye of a cyclone will have a descending air, it is not having an ascending air, right? And so it is characterized by very light winds and a clear sky, that is without any formation of the clouds, right? See, the area of formation of the cyclone, this is where usually the cyclone develops. See, cyclone is developing between what is the maximum extent of formation of the cyclone. This is here. Okay, so this is around 30 degrees. Okay, around 30 degrees. This is a formation, and see, on equator we are not showing much of the cyclone. So cyclone formed in South China Sea. It is formed in northeastern region of Australia, northwest of Australia. See, deflection of the or movement of the cyclone is guided by the Coriolis force. See, cyclone is deflected to the right. See here, it is deflected to the right in the northern hemisphere, and cyclone is deflected to the left in the southern hemisphere. So, yes, are you able to follow this path of the cyclone? Therefore, the cyclone is referred to have which type of path here? This is known as a parabolic path. Cyclone is considered to have a parabolic path, right? Above the equator, if the cyclone is like this, it will get move in this way, and below the equator the cyclone is going to move in this way, deflection to the left and deflection to the right in the northern hemisphere. You can apply this to any cyclone now that is there in above and below the equator. See, in case of India, you will have the cyclones. You will have the cyclones that are, see, in June and November. So India is characterized by the cyclones at the start and end of southwest monsoon. Remember, this point is important. The tropical cyclones in India occurs at the start and end of southwest monsoon, right? So note down these also, what are different, and it will be, see, Jan and March in southern hemisphere, June and December in northern hemisphere. Abhi Jan and March in southern hemisphere means which season it is in southern hemisphere. Yeah, Siddharth. So this movement is associated with the wind. Okay, what is guiding this cyclone? It is a trade wind. So northern hemisphere में trade क्या है? Northeast trade. In southern hemisphere the trade is what? Southeast trade. ठीक है? The cyclone is guided by the trade winds. Okay, trade winds, that is northeast trade in northern hemisphere and southeast trade in the southern hemisphere. Yes, good. So that is why in southern hemisphere the cyclones are common in the month of Jan to March. That is, for southern hemisphere it is summer. In northern hemisphere the cyclones are common in June, July, August, September. Okay, these are the common occurrence of the cyclone. That is again summer in northern hemisphere, right? Now, see, when the cyclone hits any region, what the cyclone is known as, it is known as a disaster now. Okay, disaster because it is going to cause damage. They say wind velocity. See, it is 119 to 153. The cyclone is, so this house and tree you can see. So here the wind velocity is increasing. Again, what will happen? You have a greater, if it is still increasing, all this water will enter into the land because of low pressure. If it is crossing 250 km per hour, see, this is entire destruction. And if it is 250 plus, this is known as a super cyclone. Super cyclone, this will be a large scale destruction. So relate this with mostly the summer. Okay, summer or temperatures of the water. Saying rainy may not be appropriate, but for India there is a pattern. इसलिए हम rainy season बोल रहे हैं. India has a rainy season, but all the countries may not have rainy season. You might be aware. ठीक है? So 250 plus 250, not 252 exactly, 250 plus. This is extreme, extreme, and see here in this table first you can see the cyclone category 1 2 3 4 5. इसमें क्या हो रहा है, the wind speed is increasing as you move from 1 to 5. So category 1 120 to 150, so it has minimum impact. Category 2 150 to 180 moderate cyclone. 180 to 210 it is extensive. 210 to 250 is extreme. 250 plus is considered as catastrophic. Now what is going to determine this velocity of the wind? It is a low pressure. Okay, so if low pressure is normal low pressure, then velocity is less than 31. If it is low pressure is further decreasing, then it is velocity will increase. This is known as depression. D, then it is known as deep depression. Again increase, then cyclonic storm, further increase, severe cyclonic storm. Okay, then again it is increasing. In this way, as you intensify the low pressure at the center of the cyclone, the velocity of the wind, okay, velocity of the wind is going on increasing. See, like you measure earthquake on a scale that is known as a Richter scale. Similarly, there is a scale for measuring the intensity of the tropical cyclone. Intensity of the tropical cyclone, and this scale is based on the velocity of the wind. This is referred as this scale is referred as Saffir-Simpson scale. This is SAFFIR Simpson Simpson scale. This is to measure, this is based on wind velocity. This scale is based on the wind velocity, and this is going to indicate how the cyclone, how much destructive the cyclone can be. Okay, so like we are measuring Richter scale, that is related to earthquake. Similarly, we measure this related to the cyclone on the Saffir Simpson scale. Okay, so these are the topics to be covered. So this is a general idea about the tropical cyclone. What you do is you compare in your text whatever you are referring, that is, you can refer this physical geography, fundamentals of physical geography by NCRT class 11th. Okay, class 11. In that you will have a differentiation between the tropical cyclone and temperate cyclone, and you can compare these two. Now you will be able to differentiate the two and also try to understand what is the difference between the weather associated with the tropical cyclone and a temperate cyclone. Weather associated means you should be knowing four parameters: pressure, then wind velocity, cloud cover, and rainfall. Pressure, wind velocity, cloud cover, and rainfall. How these four are changing as the cyclone moves over any region, that will be known as a weather modification associated with the cyclones. Right. Hope you have understood these things for from this today's class. So this is we have completed s- some 7 classes live sessions on YouTube in this month, and next month schedule also we will be giving you, so that will be related to the complete crash course on ecology and environment. Okay, so you will get that uh, in next class, and hopefully the next class will be on next Saturday and Sunday. Okay, anything else?